channel. A lot of people don't realize it, but you have to actually click the subscribe button and make it say subscribed. It just sits there otherwise.
Interesting. If you use 100% Darius Slayton this week, you subscribe to the channel.
If he smashes this week.
If he doesn't, never bring it up again.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mayo Experience.
Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience presented by Underdog. Code Mayo at Underdog right now. Get you a deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And coming off a high of Thursday Night Football Tambo, where the one I gave out on the show won. That never happens.
Yeah, it was a nice night. The real close call down to the end. I had a sweat and showdown. I was actually sitting second with a 4-person chop, pretty much going into the overtime, and it did not go that way. It was Hodge who got the winning touchdown. I needed it to be Pitts.
Well, that was never going to happen. It's
Big
Pitts.
game for Pitts, though.
Oh,
First-
yeah.
first
What do
big
you
game
have,
of the
like
season.
4 catches? What a hero.
Almost 8 for 80. Pretty solid day.
Yeah, if it was season-long fantasy, I would trade him right now.
It's a good call.
Does that mean Mark Andrews might actually rebound this week?
I said that on the Mayo Media Network Showdown show yesterday. I said, watch, Kyle Pitts will have a big game tonight, and then Mark Andrews will bounce back on Sunday. He's $4,000, I think.
Code Mayo at shipitnation.com will get you a discount. Additionally, Code Mayo at runthesims.com will get you another discount on the optimizer, the simulations, and the prop sniper if you're looking for that. And they have an underdog tool. So just Code Mayo everywhere and get yourself into the game. Let's talk DraftKings for the week. What do you think the chalk is going to be here? Because Trace Sermon is $5,700. If he was $4,700, we'd have a stew brewing here. I don't know about 57 though.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to be as popular as we think. I know people do want to target that game, though, and then obviously waiting somewhat on the Richardson news just to see. But, people are going to get after that game either way, whether it's with Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson, both sides of it, and then there's other quarterbacks that people will go to as well.
Are you surprised that people are targeting that game?
Not really. I think it's one of those things. It's just some of the other ones aren't. Like, for example, Baltimore Cincy, big total. But you know how, like, some people look at that as a hard option. Like, who do you put Lamar with?
Just take Lamar.
Right, exactly. And then a lot of people don't want to just play a naked quarterback. Or, will King Henry have another big day? People aren't going to trust that as much and got a little bit of a price bump. So I think the Arizona-San Francisco game will be the big one when we get to that. Obviously, 10 games this week. Bye weeks have started, all of that considered.
And the London game as well. You don't think people are stacking up Miami, New England?
Not after anything we've seen out of that side, either side, really. So
the big ones this week, I think Buffalo, Houston's going to be pretty popular, obviously. I mean, we're just looking at the totals here. Arizona and San Francisco. Although that's a 49.5 total. Most of the allocated points in that game go to San Francisco, not Arizona. But I almost guarantee you people will stack up Arizona.
It's going to happen. I shouldn't say it's possible. It's definitely going to happen. But I think one of the interesting things, like you said, we're looking at totals. But Green Bay, LA.
48.5
is going to be the game people are targeting because already look what Love did last week. And then you got all the stuff on the Rams side of things with Whittington and all those dudes, Kyron Williams, etc., Colby Parkinson. And then they'll just jam a couple of 49ers into it and make it work. Well, when we get there, we'll see it.
Now, you might forget this because we were in a Montreal haze last week when we did this show live from there. But Tutu Atwell's the guy that you want to play.
Yeah, you got it. We talked about it. He's there. He's $4,900 this week as well.
It's a great price.
Yeah, you could play him. Or Whittington is, I think, $300 cheaper.
I'd
if
rather
people want to go there. I'm just saying if they're chasing it after last week,
if you're chasing it after last week, you still want Tutu at
4,600. Well, people look at the other side. I mean, 6 for 8 was 62. They're still going to be interested in Whittington. I see him popping everywhere right now. He's coming in more ownership than Atwell at the moment.
Is there a particular game that you like? That you're like, oh yeah, that game. That's a game that I want to go to. Because I really think I don't know if it's Carolina, Chicago, how I want to do it, but one of the great things about Carolina right now is it's very predictable where the ball is going to go. Mm-hmm. When they throw, it goes to Deontay Johnson. When they run, it goes to Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah, that's gonna be how it goes. You can actually fit those guys with the 49ers guys into your Rams-Packers builds and kind of just call it a day. You are leaving out Cincy, Baltimore, and Buffalo, Houston, as you mentioned, but that's kind of the point I think people are making or looking at early on at least.
It's just we've kind of gotten away from seeing these concentrated offenses because everything is so spread out. Like Baltimore being the most extreme example on the other side. Like God knows where the ball is going on that side. Lamar is going to have it and Derrick Henry is going to get his carries, but that's really it. You have no idea who to stack him up with. Whereas Carolina, despite the lower total, the ball is going to go here and the ball is going to go here. It's like, the old Oakland offense. Like, yeah, well, they're going to pass. They're going to pass to Amari. They're going to pass to Crabtree, and that's it. They're going to have like 60% of the target share. It's great.
Yeah. Speaking of passing, I think that's probably one of the biggest leaks in most people's game when it comes to DFS is looking at the total and reasoning that as why they can't go to that game. You just mentioned it. The Carolina game has super low total, 41, but Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Johnson will be super owned because people are catching on to it now. Before that was a problem and people weren't doing that. They were just avoiding altogether and crossing games off because of totals, but they're still going to put up points and it's going to come through those guys.
I keep getting these emails from you, actually. Do you have a course going on? What is this?
Email education course. So we started it up. It's anyone who's ever been a member signed up for any email format, anything like that. We put it out to all the members. It's completely free. Right now, you use code Mayo at Ship It Nation, you get a free week actually of everything, up to all access included. So you can use the code Mayo there. But if you're on the main drop down page, you can just click send me lesson number 1 for free. But we're focusing on this stuff as we always do. We talk about it plenty, but you and I, a ton of this is not to take our lineups and go plug them in. That's probably not working out too well for you. We're going through and we're learning what the field's doing, what we can do against it, how we might find our ways, and then putting together hopefully what we find to be some winning plays and winning lineups. But in general, process is the biggest thing.
Points per dollar right now with Joe Mixon still in. Joe Mixon, as of Friday, has not practiced as of yet. He keeps saying he's going to play, but there's like more and more going on here that he's not going to play.
Yeah.
Cam Akers is 55, and people have been using him anyway. And this is a great matchup against the Bills' run D, which has been a sieve the past few weeks. So he's not Derrick Henry. I'm just going to run for 200 yards against them. But if he's the only guy back there again, if Mixon and Pierce are out, that's a bonus. As someone that it feels like people are over Cam Akers, and where he's not the focal point of discussion this week, that Sermon has become that guy. Akers hasn't. They're very close in price. I'd rather play Akers if Mixon's out.
Yeah, I think that's fine. If you're just looking for a straight pivot, similar price point, etc., just go there. It gets you a little piece of that Houston-Buffalo game, which is getting, a little bit of love, but not really. Like if you go look around the board, it's not like last week where Houston was getting targeted quite a bit, and they actually have some other injury stuff there where, like you said, talking about Mixon. What's the Tank Dell situation right now?
It looks like he's going to play. He's been back at practice. The other big injury situation to look for, Devin Singletary hasn't practiced yet this week either. He hurt his groin. So Tyrone Tracy might just be the starting running back for the Giants this week. He's $4,300.
Yes, I was going to say earlier when you asked, is there any games that sort of stand out outside the obvious? And it can go one of two ways, which is fantasy for you. But like that Giants-Seattle game, Geno was slinging it around. Kenneth Walker was doing his thing, jamming it in. You've got the neighbor's injury that, it still looks like
he's not going to play.
Yeah, I don't see him going to be. I don't see how he's going to play right now. So
but the weird thing is, I went over this. I do those shorts in the morning. I'm back to doing them now that we're back. I actually like all the Giants less if Neighbors is out, because their entire offense runs through him, because everyone will be like, oh, Wendell, this is going to be great. He's going to have 48 targets. I don't think that's going to be the case.
I think Slayton is interesting, actually,
and then Hyatt,
because of that, and then Hyatt.
And then Hyatt, too. I don't know if just any of them are interesting. I think their offense might be broke without Neighbors or Singletary in there.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think I'll definitely be taking stabs. It doesn't sound like you will, but it's a price-based game. That's what people misunderstand is, again, same thing. All your lineups, if you play a portfolio like I do, a bunch of them are going to the dead waters anyway. So it doesn't matter. Like for those prices, Daniel Jones, pick one of Slayton, Robinson, or Hyatt, and then Theo Johnson. It's free. It's 3 guys for free. You can 4X that very easily and then fill out your lineup with whatever you want.
Is it all that dissimilar from using, let's say, Minshew, Trey Tucker, and Jacoby Myers?
You can go wherever you want to go with it. It just depends on the games you see as interesting. I'm playing Denver defense, so that'll tell you everything you need to know about that example.
I suppose. And it looks like Zamir White might miss the week as well, leaving Alexander Madison to be the primary ball handler in that matchup too. Madison coming in at $5,200. So there are potential pay down, I don't want to say like workhorse options, but running backs, they're going to see 60 to 70% of the carries in their backfield, the playing time, all in this like mid to low 5, or Tracy down in the low 4s, that you almost have to pick your poison, it feels like. A lot of the time with this, when you have all of these options, sometimes I just like to double pay up at running back and go on my way.
And I wonder, that's what I was going to ask you, what are you seeing? But I'm actually seeing everybody is paying up at running back right now. Like Mason, Kyron Williams, Derrick Henry, and then you get into like that mid-tier range of Swift, Hubbard, and Josh Jacobs. Kenneth Walker. Like I'm seeing everyone paying $6,000 or up right now. Sermon will change it a little bit.
Well,
I'm sure,
I think I think the ownership will get completely flipped once the Friday injury report is out. Because right now, none of the optimizers have Mixon out or Singletary out or Zamir White out. Once those guys get ruled out or don't get ruled out, then you have all of these pay down options at running back. I do think that affects what people want to do.
I do and don't. I mean, like we're going to build how we build today, but I would say that I actually don't. I think you nailed it originally. So I'm taking your statement and flipping it back, but people don't want these guys. Like no one cares about Akers, whether he pops in as an option or not. I don't think people even want Sermon because he's almost 6K. You can play Chuba Hubbard for 6,100.
Sure. Okay.
So-
yeah. Yes, you're right. And I'm seeing the same thing you. Mason, Kyron, Hubbard, Henry, Jacobs, and then Swift. Good Lord.
Swifty, man. He's
I
back.
tried it one week. It didn't work. No one did it last week. It finally worked. Kenneth Walker's another one who's up there as well.
Yeah.
But I do think if you have this plethora of options that is a little bit cheaper, what's the most expensive quarterback wide receiver stack this week? It's got to be the Houston one, right?
That people are playing?
No, just in general.
What would it be then? It'd be
Stroud with Nico and Diggs or Dell, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people would have avoided that. Or Burrow with Higgins and Chase would be the other one. And I think that people would avoid those ones going to them because there's no way to really fit in any adequate running backs. Therefore, everyone pays up for running back and they have to pay down for their stack. If these cheaper running back options become available, those stacks end up, people will be like, oh, now I can make that work. And then they'll do it. And then it's not going to be like Trey Sermon's going to be 50% owned. But the combination of all those four guys will probably see a total increase in ownership of, I don't know, like 20% from where it is right now.
Yeah, it's still, I think Sermon is the one when it happens. So I don't disagree. Like I said, I do and don't, but that's the part I agree with. It's going to happen. But I will say this too. People are starting to adapt and recognizing it. Last year, if you remember on DraftKings, the tight end pricing was so bad that you literally could go back to the well of back in the day and be able to play two tight ends to jam everything in. The quarterback pricing is broke right now. They're not pricing these guys anywhere near what they should be. They're getting no increase at all. You can play, there's 60 from 5,200 for Daniel Jones up to 6,200 for Brock Purdy. There's like 6 options in there and they're all stackable. They're all super cheap and it allows you to pretty much jam in whatever else you want. If people aren't adapting to that and they're starting to learn, I saw Scott Barrett from Fantasy Points post it. I followed up. Like Patrick Mahomes is never on Millie Maker winners. 3 of the last 71. Lamar almost never shows up. Josh Allen, see him on your 3-game slates and on Thanksgiving. Like these guys are not showing up in the Millie Maker winners. Does it mean they can't? No, but the pricing is bad at quarterback. And then the options are still wide receiver ones, whether their name is a CD Lamb or whatever else it might be. They're real options for their teams. Deontay Johnson, Andy Dalton, 10K you can pay for 2 of those guys the last couple weeks.
Or you just play Jaden Daniels and win all the money.
Yeah, he's still not adjusted. He's $6,800.
Yeah, he should be like 9,000.
He should be at least 7,500 or more, and I know that's cutting it, but call it 7,800 or more. It would not surprise you. They're not adjusting the prices.
Wide receivers points per dollar right now, and this is with Neighbors being out in terms of the projections. Trey Tucker is far and away number one at 3 points per dollar. Then you have Wendell, Deontay Johnson, Darius Slayton, Nico Collins, Jerry Jeudy, Jordan Whittington, your guy, JSN, Jaden Reed, Jacoby Myers, DK Metcalf, who has a thumb injury, but he's going to play, and then Debo. So looking at all of this and kind of interpreting what's going on, because I'll quickly switch to tight ends as well to figure out who's the top of those. It's Parkinson, Kraft, Gesicki, Bowers, and Henry. The Bowers thing is interesting. I think he might get the Patrick Surtain treatment because I don't know who else he goes against here. Like just take out Bowers and you shut down their entire offense.
Yeah, I don't know if he does. I think I'll be taking chances otherwise to find out. I was going to say the best thing in ever is if Trey Tucker actually gets ownership and you could just move to Bowers at a onesie position where it seems like people want to pay down this week because Parkinson, Kraft, Ertz with the Jaden Daniels stacks is still getting a little bit. And then you've got some of these outsiders that people like to play too. It looks like if anyone is paying up that Kincaid will be the option over Bowers.
Which is interesting because McBride's going to play, Kittle's likely going to play, Kmet's likely going to play. Evan Ingram should be back for this slate as well. It's trending in that direction.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was going to be out. I was going to go back to the well on Stranger Things.
Yeah, well, he's practicing a limited capacity Wednesday and Thursday. That would lead me to believe that he's coming back.
Okay.
And then David Njoku could be back as well.
I like the Kittle call too, by the way, when we get there, because there's no way no matter what happens at running back, Mason is going to be super popular, and you can play him with him. You could play Purdy, Mason, Kittle.
Well, I
get different that way.
I was just thinking, like we talked about those expensive stacks, and you can pay down a little bit, and you fade Jordan Mason, who's going to be the highest owned guy regardless anyway. You just go Purdy, Kittle, Debo, and then leave Mason off.
I'm definitely in on Debo this week. So.
And then you could use Kyron, you could use Parkinson, you could use Atwell, whoever it might be, like whatever cheaper, more expensive option that you wanted. I think it's there for the taking.
Yeah, when we get to it, it'll be interesting to see like the optimal versus then we we always flip it to, I think today's strategy is what's the optimal? What does, the version that we think people actually play look like? And then we'll really know how you can flip it. I will say that about a 10-game slate versus when we have the 13 and 14-game slates, it's nice that you know more of what the field is doing. Like you can catch on quicker because there's less games. It's like a showdown slate. When you know what the field is doing, it's awesome. It doesn't mean your angle of exploiting it is going to work out if that's how you play, like I do, but it is going to be a better situation for you because that's what DFS is all about. What is the field doing and what can we do against it? And that's kind of what I see here this week. It looks pretty obvious.
The pay down options at wide receiver this week. Trey Tucker's obviously the one that pops out, and right now he's projected 8% ownership. I'm guessing that hits double digits at $4,100. You mentioned Tutu Atwell, he's 49. Whittington's 46. Darius Slayton is 39. Gio and Hyatt's 31. If that's the route that you wanted to go. And other than that, it's like, the regulars that always pop up. Greg Dortch is $4,500. When was the last time Greg Dortch did anything?
I actually don't know.
Just every week people play him.
I vouch for the guy sometimes. I mean, if you look at some of the stats, it looks like he should do stuff.
But like Michael Wilson, actually,
he never does anything, actually, ever.
Michael Wilson, just how many more fantasy points has he scored than Craig Dortch over the past 2 years? 100?
He's got 3 games breaking 14 points.
And
Greg Dortch has 1 game, and he's got a couple 13s in there. They're honestly the same, but I feel like you're talking about Big Mike there, Michael Wilson. He's got the opportunity to have the boom versus Dortch might just have one of those 6-catch 80-yard games that you're getting the points for $4,500.
Yeah, and even to look at what he's done so far this year, like in back-to-back weeks now. Now, obviously, that was with Trey McBride out. So maybe that's a big reason that Wilson's being more used in the passing game. But 16 targets 16 targets between the last 2 weeks, 7 and 9, and he caught the touchdown week 1. So
look at this real quick, not to cut you off, but just like the Slayton play, he's $3,900 just pulling the same sample size. Because we just talked about Dortch and Wilson. He's got 5 games over 14 points. And there's a 17, a 23, and 2 18s in there. That's the home run you want. That's the volatility you're trying to take on. Is it safe? No. But what happens when he hits? That's what you're going to get there. And I don't think many people are going to go to him this week at 3,900. It's just a prime example of a guy you could pivot off of or move down to.
I think he is the one giant that I would want to play. Unless they're like, Tyrone Tracy is going to play 100% of the snaps, which even then, how good is he going to be?
And again, who knows? And we'll see. And I don't know if he would pick up steam, obviously, but if he did, it's just another way to look at how you could flip it is like you'd be able to get a better running back in that you want and take your Trey Tucker from 4,100. What is he? 4,100 this week? Yeah, 4,100 down to 39, and play him instead, and play a guy like Slayton instead. You may be waiting till the fourth quarter, but it's also if it's an 80-yard bomb in the fourth quarter, you're still great.
You're just sitting there waiting the entire game. It was I played the 2 underdog ones, and I had it 1 until Ray McLeod had that 22. I had his under of 17 and a half longest reception. I was like, wow, this is a winner. No, can't happen.
He got you late.
What a great game.
That was a really good game for a Thursday game.
Cust is on fire, by the way, with these Ander curses. Obviously, the guy got his car stolen. That was one. And he killed Maggie Smith. That's while we were away.
Dead.
He reverse cursed Thursday Night Football after saying like it should be taken off the air because it's so bad. We have the best game of the year so far. Easily the best Thursday Night Football game. Maybe the best game. It was the most entertaining game.
Very entertaining.
I think I've watched.
For an island game.
Well, they didn't play defense.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's outrageous.
And early, everyone had their prop bets. Team always overs. Yeah, really good shape.
Yeah, except for running back. The running backs didn't do fuck all in those
I don't know if people were even on them. Everyone was on the same shit. Godwin, Evans, Mooney, all these guys. So they had a great day yesterday for that. And now...
Well, and now DraftKings is getting banned in the UK after he railed against the London games, which the Jets are playing in this week.
It's like it all comes together, man.
So if you are not going to tune into the DraftKings show anymore, or UK viewers, or we're sorry to lose you, we hope you still tune in. Remember to download the podcast. If nothing else, we got plenty of other betting shows for you as well. And I think that even though we're talking about DraftKings in a context with this, I mean, I feel like this information can be used for props, whatever it might be as well.
Can be used for tons. I talked about that even at Ship It Nation this morning. People asking about it. I mean, we're not affiliated with them in any way. So it's like we do content around it, but it's it's fantasy sports content. You can use it to play in your home leagues. You can use it to do sports betting. You can do all kinds of stuff with the content and the information out there.
One thing I did want to circle back to, if you're looking for the ultimate punt at tight end this week, let's see where he is. See how much he is. He's $2,500. Harrison Bryant for the Raiders against Denver. So Michael Mayer is away from the team because of personal matters. Obviously, Devontae Adams isn't playing. So Trey Tucker is going to be super owned. Brock Bowers is probably going to be super owned as well.
He'll get there, I think, a
if
little
people
bit.
get there with him. Jacoby Myers maybe trying to pick off pieces of this game. But if you go and take a look at the routes run and the snap counts from a week ago, they didn't really play a third receiver. I think it was DJ Turner is their third receiver. He played like 25 of the 60 snaps or of the 55 snaps. Harrison Bryant was out there for 45 of them. They just played 2 tight end sets the entire game.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to be the same case again. Now, as a DraftKings play, probably not great, but like over 6.5 yards or wherever the hell he's going to be, that's the play. First touchdown, that's the play.
Yeah, we'll have to see. It depends on what you think about the rest of the tight ends, but I will say I think it's an awesome option. Anytime you have a guy like Trey Tucker at 4,100, it actually was, funny enough, the Greg Dortch week 2 years ago, last year, whatever it was, or all the time for what it might be. But the only reason I say it is because at that time, Trey McBride was like 3,500 and Greg Dortch was 4,100 or something. And everyone, it was 30% Greg Dortch week. And what happened? Trey McBride crushed. I think he had 2 touchdowns or something insane.
That was the week that I came second in the 150.
Yeah, there you go. So you remember this. And this is the example of why it's important is it's not, a huge thing for Harrison Bryant. Like you said, maybe it's just a prop play, but because there's other tight ends. But in general, you have to play one tight end. If you just want to punt it off, why not do it with the guy that's a complete leverage play and get back your wide receiver spot with even more money to spend? That's how you look at it.
Yeah, and just he's out there. So if Mayer is going to be out, which I would assume he is officially ruled out later on Friday, then that would be the move. Cheap D's, did anyone stick out to you?
Carolina and the Giants.
Yeah, Carolina was the obvious one, just going against Caleb Williams.
Might be too chalky at this point, though. I think it's actually getting up there. People are just willing to pay down to nothing. So
Colts against Jacksonville, like why not?
Yeah, I was looking at
their defense is better than I thought that it was. Their run defense still isn't good, but their pass D is good. They get after the quarterback, and Lawrence hasn't been good.
And he might be this week.
He might be. I tried that last week, and he was like okay. I think he threw 3 touchdowns. He was like barely top 15.
I'm in on Lawrence this week. I don't know if it made the tidbits. It might not have, but I put it out there anyway. If I didn't, I have it saved and I'll show it somewhere else. But the accuracy with him against this type of defense, and there's a decent sample size with it. I like a good, at least some sample size to be talking about it. It actually shows up, and that's how I was hoping that Ingram was out because it would tighten it up even more with like Strange. Pick your poison, put 2 of or 1 of the other guys in with him, and you're good to go. But yeah, I'm still interested in Lawrence this week.
All right, so I'm just trying to take a look at, let's see here. Pressure rate, adjusted sack rate for the offense right now. So the team's getting sacked the most. New England, Cleveland, Chicago, Vegas, and the Rams. And then Miami. So Patriots D is going to be like off the charts own. Because they're, what, $3,000, $2,900?
2,900, yeah. They're going to get owned.
So they're going to be probably, I'm guessing, the most popular defense.
Do you like that? This is what we always talk about, isn't it?
No, both those teams are going to run the ball a combined 90 times.
Just New England, Miami just feels like they get the game over with. Like they go out there, it's a division.
Watch it be like 70 points.
Maybe.
So the best adjusted sack rates on the other side from the defense, San Francisco, the Giants, Denver. So Denver is the one that we've mixed together. Best adjusted sack rate versus the other side giving up the most sacks per pressures. Mm-hmm. You just have to pray that Denver can get out in front. Because if not, then it's going to be all running, and then you're not going to get those opportunities. That's the problem with Denver's D, is that they play these close games, they're trailing for a ton, and teams just don't pass against them.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say that I actually like is the Vegas D. On the other side, they're just better than you think. You talked about the options of, some of these guys. It's not like Denver can be crazy good. We know Bo Nix throw picks. We've already had that one come out a few times. So I just think when you see something like that, Denver D is actually getting a little bit of a boost right now because people like the spot. Obviously, Surtain, all the stuff they have there. Some injuries to the Vegas side. You'd be going against the chalk, at least there. But I do see them already hitting double digits early for a less than 3K defense. And for just $300 more, you can play the opposite side at like no ownership.
This defense isn't good, but their pressure rate is pretty solid. They have an 11% adjusted sack rate through 4 games. It's Houston's defense.
Yeah, they're interesting too. I did like that.
And they're not super pricey, I don't think.
I think they are.
They're $2,600 against the Bills.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And that gets you like off the Bills.
It's also the one. Were you there? I think we might have been in Montreal, and we talked about the free square. How it's not really a free square, but the point of it is when your lineup lands there, if you already have all the stuff you wanted and you're not touching that Houston Buffalo game, it's kind of scary because a 47.5 point total, 1 point spread. It's two good teams that you could see go off against each other. But if you're not playing it anyway, just play that defense because it's like a way to say I'm going to hope that this holds the game down. Josh Allen not throwing all these touchdowns or having a great game and situational stuff like that almost makes it work perfect. So I love that call.
So Denver at 29, New England at 29, I would have guessed to be the chalkiest outside of Seattle, maybe at $3,500. That's the pay up defense that everyone is going for. If I was going to pay up, I'd pay up all the way for San Francisco, even though they have those like just no one's going to play them. So why not? Other than that, Miami's defense actually looks very good, I think, at $3,300 versus how owned New England's defense is versus where they're at right now at like 2-3%. And then Denver, as you mentioned, Seattle, Miami, Green Bay would be the one that sticks out to me the most, though, at 3,000. Very few people are using it. One of the highest adjusted sack. Pressure rate really low, adjusted sack rate really high. Now, a lot of that has to do with the game that they played against Tennessee because we're still earlier on in the season. I think they had 6 or 7 sacks against Will Levis, despite not pressuring him a ton. Every time they got pressure, they brought him down. And it's not like the Rams' offensive line is getting any better.
Yeah, I like that one. I also kind of like Washington versus Cleveland. Watson has been slinging it, trying to.
Well, he slings it like 2 yards downfield.
Oh, he's trying. He hit Amari Cooper like an 82-yard called back touchdown.
Yeah,
last week.
those. I feel like that's happened twice now this year.
Yeah. I also, speaking of that, Amari might be a good play this week too. But the defenses, there's tons of options in here from 32 down. I'm with you. I love that call up top. If I'm going up, I think I'm just going up to San Francisco and calling it a day there.
For almost about 2 decades, the irons were really the only good part of my golf game, unless you include 300-yard drives, which meant hitting it about 150 yards straight and 150 yards with slice into the woods to the right. So I finally went and got lessons, straightened out my swing, and all of a sudden I could drive the ball pretty decently, pretty straight. And then my irons just kind of went wayward with the new compression that I was getting onto the ball. So it was time for me to make a change with my irons. So when I heard about the new PXG Black Ops irons and how they can dramatically improve my game, I had to give them a try. Booked a fitting with the PXG location, brought in my current irons, and took the PXG challenge. The staff was amazing. We worked on my ball flight through TrackMan in order to find the perfect irons and the perfect length and the perfect loft for what my game demands these days. And the new Black Ops irons are incredibly easy to hit, they maximize performance, and they're fun. Oh, and they're only $149.99 a stick. That is a great price for a great golf iron. So take the PXG Irons Challenge. It's a ton of fun, and if PXG's new Black Ops irons don't outperform your current irons by delivering either more distance or tighter dispersion, that means better accuracy, during your fitting, you'll get a $250 MasterCards reward card. Hurry, this offer ends October 7th. Book your fitting today at pxg.com. That's pxg.com. Passion, drive, patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Supercharger, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only, exclusions apply. DraftKings Optimal for the week. You ready to punch this in?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Geno Smith is the quarterback at $5,900, and he's paired with Ken Walker in the backfield at $6,800. And not a great correlation between those two because Ken Walker doesn't catch passes. Jordan Mason is the other running back. Nico Collins, Deontay Johnson, Trey Tucker are the 3 wide receivers. So 77, 61, and 41. Tucker Kraft at $3,500 is the tight end. Wendell Robinson at $5,600 is the flex play, and then Broncos D comes in at $2,900. That is around 137.9 DraftKings points is what the median projection is going to be for that lineup. I like this Nico play, though. I don't think I'm alone in that.
Yeah, he'll get some love as the week goes on, but it's what you said because it just all depends on your roster construction and setup. I don't know exactly what will change here, but I don't actually believe in Geno being the guy.
Okay, so we'll get rid of.
So I take Geno out.
Let's just go Daniel Jones then. You've
Well,
mentioned.
I was just gonna say, see where we land. But what do you think sticks no matter what? I think Jordan Mason sticks.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Deontay Johnson sticks. I think Trey Tucker stays in there.
I think objectively, Deontay Johnson for the price is a better play than Jordan Mason. Now that Jordan Mason's actually up amongst the highest of the running backs, he deserves to be. I have him as my number one running back this week, but he's going to be 33% owned.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's I'm trying to see. I don't like this is the optimal based on projection. I think that there's like a cash lineup that people would play more closer to some of these guys still staying in there. Like Jordan Mason is staying in. Deontay Johnson is staying in. Trey Tucker is staying in. Who do you, at tight end? I don't know if it's going to be Tucker Kraft either. Maybe. So we can leave him in. Who's the Ram you want to play? Kyron Williams or Tutu Atwell? Or do you think people just go to Whittington?
I would rather play Tutu Atwell. I think he's a better play. I like just where Wendell's in at 56. Just give me Tutu Atwell instead. I think that's a much better play.
So, but that's what you think people will play, or do you think they'll play Whittington more?
They'll probably play Whittington more, although they shouldn't.
So let's see what that does. Then I'm going to put Whittington into it. Leave Trey. So we'll have Deontay Johnson, Whittington, Trey Tucker. People love their little Tucker Kraft secondary stack. We'll leave Jordan Mason. Denver D could always go down, but now you have so much money that I don't know if this would be it. Like
so we have to fill out what? One running back spot, a wide receiver spot, and a quarterback?
I left just a flex in the quarterback. I've got Jordan Mason, Kenneth Walker.
Oh, you kept Walker in, okay.
For now, especially if not going Geno. And then I got Deontay Johnson, let's take Whittington out and play Kyron. He definitely pops, and people have the money, and now you can kind of do your Daniel Jones thing, I think, where it's
your Daniel Jones thing, not my Daniel
sorry,
Jones
true, but your mention of maybe we just go Daniel Jones, that gives us $6,400.
So Jones, so was it Daniel Jones? So it was Kyron instead of Kenneth Walker?
No, I kept them both.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to use all three. Like I still think and Chuba Hubbard could be the answer there, that people actually go to one of those.
Well, the other wide receiver in this circumstance is Slayton, then, right? And that leaves us $2,500 left over to upgrade where we want.
I think I got it. Just one sec. Chuba. No, I'm $100 short. I was trying to find what I think people actually go to. I don't know if it is Daniel Jones though. Who's the other quarterbacks that you see popular right now?
Anthony Richardson is projecting to be one of the most popular. Jordan Love actually makes sense in this lineup.
Jordan Love makes sense. But then if you go even to the cheapest Carolina D, is there a running back for 4,700? Probably not.
Well, you could use, instead of, we don't have any Giants in, I really don't think Singletary's playing. Then you could use Tyrone Tracy at 43.
I was trying to see, do you think Chuba goes in, or do you think people go to like Kenneth Walker, Kyron Williams? If I'm playing Mason with Kyron.
I don't think that you're going to see a lot of Mason, Kyron, Kenneth Walker lineups.
No, neither do I. That's what I'm trying to do, is if I can go to like Whittington, if I go to Nico Collins.
Although those are the three, let's see, the three highest projected are Mason, Kyron, and Chuba Hubbard. So get rid of Walker and throw in Chuba. And now you have Deontay and Chuba Hubbard in the same lineup.
I think that's fine. People are going to play that this week. Mason makes sense. I can't find if I leave Trey Tucker in there, I don't know if it's Love or who it is. I land on like 6,200. I can go down to, is there anybody cheaper down there?
I'm just trying to see if there's any, you know what would actually make sense in this, and it ends up becoming a triple stack.
What is it?
Get rid of Broncos D.
Okay.
And make it something. And get rid of Trey Tucker. And the Trey Tucker spot, use Jaden Reed. And then you have $2,400. So pick your poison with the Panthers, Giants, or Cardinals.
So what's the final? Yeah, because it's Panthers. And then what did you land on? That was the difference there. So you have Love,
Mason, Kyron.
Love, Mason, Kyron.
Slayton, Deontay, and Jaden Reed.
Slayton. Okay.
Tucker Kraft, Chuba Hubbard, Giants D.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what people like. Let's see what that comes out to. It's almost the same as the optimal for me.
Really?
Yep. And you get actually a 3-1 with 3 Panthers, a San Francisco, and the Slayton play. That's not bad.
Well, let's stick with love then, and we'll do the Rams Green Bay and try to rework this where it makes more sense. I actually like this side. Like we have the full stack as it is.
Yeah.
With
If you're using like a popular craft, you got to cut into it some and fit it out that way. We didn't use the Whittington or Atwell play. We went to Kyron Williams instead.
Well, let's get rid of Chuba Hubbard, Deontay Johnson. Let's keep in all the guys from this game. So Love and keep in Jordan Mason, I guess.
Yep.
And then we can use Tutu Atwell if we want. So we'll throw him in instead of Kyron for this one.
And just
so Love, Atwell, Reed, and Kraft end up
like
becoming the 3.
I like that start. Okay, so you got a 3-1 and keeping Mason.
So now we have $5,300 for the rest of everyone. Now I like Green Bay's defense, but that's probably not the route that you want to go to in this one. Let's just pair up 49ers D. Throw them in. We got a ton of cash right now.
Sure. I think one thing I will say, just from a strategy perspective, because that's really what this is about, is that I would just not care about defense at all this week. We listed like 8 good options.
Okay, let's throw in Denver then.
No. I said I just leave it. I'm saying like I would just, wherever you land at the end, we'll be able to make a case for it. We need to get what we want into the lineup. Are you trying to avoid Carolina guys? Because I think a lot of people are willing to play 2 of them.
No.
With Chuba and with what you said earlier, I think has caught on a little bit. So do you like those guys in this?
I do. I mean, I objectively like both of them. I don't know if in GPP lineups that's really where I want to go.
I think people are going to play the secondary stack also. They're not going to want to play 2 Carolina guys necessarily. So they'll either go like Chuba and the Carolina D, or they'll go DeAndre Swift and Deontay Johnson and just try and pick up that little secondary stack in that game, just thinking Swift is back after the big game.
The problem with Swift, and I was hoping this wouldn't be the case the week that I played him against Indianapolis, and he did end up getting a goal line touch, the most horrendous 4th down play I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't touch the ball inside the 5-yard line. If he's going to score, he's going to have to score like he did last week from like 50 yards out, which is great when it happens, but it happens, what, twice a year?
Yeah.
Like Roshan is stealing all of his. It was Khalil Herbert for the first 3 weeks. It's Roshan Johnson now who's stealing all those touches near the goal line. I'd rather go with like Roma Dunze instead.
I wonder what, I didn't check.
Or Cole, and take out Tucker Kraft and play Cole Kmet with one of the Carolina guys is the route that I would rather go.
And I think you can just avoid it as well. I was just looking at like a similar, like it's not quite the same price, but you could go to like Kenneth Walker and Slayton. To me, I like that little secondary stack with way less ownership.
Let's do that.
Than the other one.
And everyone's going to play Wendell.
Right. And it's also moving off of the other stuff. Like to me, that just fits and kind of makes sense.
So that gives us almost anything we want to do.
What happens if you put your San Francisco D back in?
San Fran D would get you back up to like 8,000 still. Gives you $6,800.
Debo? Play them all? Play San Francisco Onslaught mixed in?
Well, let's do this. Let's go to all the flex plays available. Between Jamar Chase, Derrick Henry, and Nico Collins, who do you like the best?
Jamar Chase. I can give you an exact answer. Derrick Henry, probably not. Probably Nico Collins.
All right, so let's throw Nico in. Gives us $2,800 for a defense. Bills D, Jags D, Browns D, Bengals D. I said Texans D earlier.
Oh, 2,800?
Yeah.
I'll just play Buffalo.
I like Texans D better than
Buffalo. We're playing Collins anyway, so I thought that too. I would probably play another one we didn't mention earlier, but I'd be interested in playing Jacksonville D at home against Indy.
Do you like them more if Anthony Richardson plays or Flacco plays?
Don't care, actually. That's the nice part about it. Flacco slings it. Anthony Richardson can make mistakes, but also if Sermon picks up any steam here, when you're not playing Sermon, that's what I said. I just called a free square because I know I'm fading Sermon in this lineup, assuming he picks up any steam. So I just land on that, and that's great for me. I'm just going against the field, just another leverage point that you can insert into your lineup.
So Love, Mason, Walker, Tutu Atwell, Jaden Reed, Slayton with Tucker Kraft, Nico Collins, and Jags D. It's not terrible.
No, it's only for about 5 points less than what the optimal was, and it's not even close to an optimal type lineup. It's way less ownership.
And we have our mini stack in there as well. How do you feel about Trey McBride this week?
Didn't ever really consider him, to be honest. I like Kittle, Bowers, probably disgusting, but Mark Andrews. You know, you got to
I'm not
tournaments.
Playing,
I'm playing a different, 150 lineup, so I think I'll have some Lamar, Mark Andrews, and just call it a day.
So that's the Green Bay side of it. I don't really care for the Ram side, although it's probably going to be pretty cheap.
I actually like the Ram side quite a bit, but we don't have to build it. I'm just saying it's because it's very similar priced. It's kind of what your point was earlier, like the Minshew versus the Daniel Jones.
Would you put Kyron in with Stafford?
Certainly, yeah. I'm not
Like,
gonna rule that out.
No, I'm not saying rule it out, but if I'm building one Stafford lineup, is Kyron in it?
Yeah, I'm no. I mean, I'm probably trying to leverage that because I think Kyron is going to get ownership because people have money to spend. But in your one lineup, if people are asking about that, but then they'll see I have it. My point is, in a portfolio, he's going to get mixed in. If you're building one lineup, you have to decide. But some people will onslaught it, and they'll go with Stafford, Kyron, Whittington, and Parkinson, or something like that.
So I built it out: Stafford, Atwell, Parkinson, with Josh Jacobs coming back.
So Stafford.
Just say running for Green Bay. They score the touchdowns on the ground. It's going to be comeback time for the Rams the entire game.
Yes, I love this. So here's another one too that I'll talk about because I like how your setup was. You're leveraging, you're double leveraging because you're going off of the Kyron Williams love. You're really triple leveraging. You're going off of Kyron Williams to go to the passing side. You're going against the quarterback that's more popular on the other side, much more popular in this case, probably 3 to 4x in Jordan Love stacks. And then you're also going to Josh Jacobs on the flip side of Kyron Williams in the same game. So this is just why people say, oh, that chalk game smashed. You guys just played all the chalk. It's completely different than the common builds that we just showed you. And with the Crafts and the Loves and Reeds and all those guys that people are playing, you just flip the build. Now you can kind of do whatever you want. You can put in your Jordan Mason. You can put in your Deontay. You can do whatever you want.
Well, who are some pivots at running back? Like high-end pivots? Because it doesn't seem like people are going to play Henry all that much.
Yeah, I'm struggling with that. I thought they weren't either, and now it does show early on that it looks like people are interested, but it's one of those ones I just don't believe it.
I think
when the cards turn over.
When I talked about like if Sermon ends up becoming the guy, if Tracy ends up becoming the guy, if Madison becomes the guy, Eckler is another one we mentioned. Brian Robinson hasn't practiced all week either, and he's a nice fit in if you want to put him in with Jaden Daniels at the same time because he's practicing in full coming off the concussion, and he's not cheap. He's not expensive. He's what, $5,600. He's cheaper than Trey Sermon. Not that I think that he'll get like goal line touches or anything, but he'll be heavily involved in this offense. But
I would say
to take a look at it, like if we don't want to go Mason here, because Mason's just the stock answer to this over and over and over again. If we take a look at who the worst run defenses are right now, the Rams are 31st. They are the worst run defense of this slate. Chicago is next, hence Chuba Hubbard. Washington's up there as well. So Jerome Ford.
I like Ford. I was just going to say there's two guys for me, and the other one is actually, interestingly enough, but James Cook. No one's touching that game, that spot. Buffalo's, I mean, it's a 47.5 total, and Buffalo's favorited. I know they're on the road, but there's opportunity for them.
Let's try this. Let's go Cook and Dell as a mini stack with this. We go Cook at $7, Dell at $5,400. So we still have $5,700 left, and I'll throw in the cheap D. I'll throw in Broncos D. Javonte Williams is another one we didn't mention.
Yeah, if you're playing, I like a little Broncos D Javonte Williams, just double down on it even.
Like and Javonte is not that expensive. The problem is he's $5,200. That's actually not bad. And that leaves us 9,000. Okay, we don't need Javonte Williams. We could actually play like Chuba Hubbard and Jamar Chase if we wanted to, I think that actually works out perfectly.
Let's see what it is. What'd you say? Chuba Hubbard.
How much is Chuba?
You already had Dell in there.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
And then you had Chase.
Okay.
And that leaves you 3K.
Yeah. So Broncos D, I liked.
Yeah, that's what I liked. I would just, again, this is another one where you're already so different that's just fine. You're not playing the Trey Tuckers of the world or the Jacoby Myers or anything like that. So, yeah, projection's not great, but we can easily fix the projection by just saying that we're already different enough and getting the Jordan Masons and those guys of the world in there.
And we could put Jordan Mason in here, but this one just fades Jordan Mason. You have Jamar Chase and Chuba Hubbard instead.
I will say that one note for sure, and I always point this stuff out, is like I don't like fading the 49ers very often. They're just, look at they're at home, they're huge favorites, a 50-point total. Like one of those guys is getting there. Mason, Debo, Kittle, like they're scoring points somehow, and Purdy stacks are a thing this week. We already talked about that. So
let's do Purdy.
Yeah, let's do Purdy. I like that. I just want to quickly see. I liked your Chuba Hubbard call. If I take Jamar Chase out of that one, did you already erase it?
I did.
Nah.
I mean, I can bring it back up if you want.
Well, I was just going to show you this one quick.
Okay, hit me.
It goes up a little bit. You can just swap who's the running back I just said?
Hubbard,
or no, the other guy.
You said Jamar Chase.
Cook. Sorry, take Cook and Jamar Chase out.
Yeah.
And then you could put in Jordan Mason, Nico Collins.
Instead of Dell?
Well, no, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change it enough. So,
Well, could we just get rid of Dell?
well,
And-
what
and
I was
you-
trying to do is if I go to Carolina D, just chalk this up a little bit. And if you go to Nico Collins instead of Dell, it lands you on 5,900 for Brian Thomas. And that projects pretty well. Brian Thomas, another good play this week that I think people just can't get to. The price, he's $200 less than Deontay. Like, they know it's a good spot. He's up against Indy. It's definitely a good spot. But if you kept Dell, you might have been able to keep Chase there and still.
Well, you can play Roma Dunze for $5,300.
Do you like Wandale or do you like Jacoby Myers?
I don't like either of them, to tell you the truth.
If you think Bowers gets the coverage, though,
I just don't know how.
maybe Myers is the guy. Split
Might
the
be,
middle.
but maybe Tucker's the guy.
Split the middle. Yeah, but we know he's owned.
I just don't see a lot going down in that game. Like if Flacco starts, I like Josh Downs at 51. But
Yeah.
in this one, I threw in just to go a little mini stack because we kept Hubbard in. I put in a Dunze at $5,300 and kept in Broncos D.
And kept in Broncos. All right. I'll look at that one. You can pull up the
San Francisco.
yep.
So who do you want to go?
I like the Debo Kittle. When we
Debo
get
Kittle?
there. Yeah, I just was wanting to see what that last one worked out to, so we know for a reference. Who'd you have at 7,800? You kept Nico.
Yeah, and got rid of Dell.
So it was about 10 points shy of what the optimal was. That's what I was trying to look at. All right, let's move over. Let's go to.
Who do you like coming back? Is
Yep.
it always going to be Marvin Harrison?
I think it's gonna be nobody.
Okay.
Just smash them and be done with it. That's one of the things. Is again,
Do you want to go Jennings in this too and just overload? Say, hey, Mason is not scoring in this game. It's going to be all passing.
I like the starting point we have. I think it's just the three dudes, and it's just a way to. Man, like if anything, I would be putting Mason into it as a guy on top over Jennings. But if you're trying to leverage that, I like just stopping at Kittle and just going Debo and Kittle.
All right, let's go that way. So for running backs, do we do Kyron then?
Well, that's one of the interesting things. It's all how you want to look at it. Like, do you want to go Josh Jacobs and Atwell as a mini stack to say, I still want a piece of that game, but I want to flip it? Or do you think because we're already, off of Mason and the pure pivot, it's not really a pivot? He might come in like 8 to 10% less, but Kyron Williams is still going to be owned next to Jordan Mason. It's not like that's some crazy pivot. So the flip would be to go to Atwell at wide receiver and go to Jacobs at running back if you want to do that.
Or you could just one-off them as well. Like I put as a part of that like stack that we built with the Rams. I don't know if I love Jacobs just as a play. I like him as a part of what we did. I don't think I'd go out of my way to mini stack him together.
See, so that's one thing I'll say. Like I look at that game as like the next best. Like I'm not worried about missing out right now on Baltimore at Cincy or Buffalo at Houston as much as those plays in that Green Bay LA game matter on paper. People are playing them. They have value. They're being played for a reason. And we're already on the big total game. So I'd be looking at getting those pieces in somehow. I just thought you liked Atwell, so maybe we just plug him for now.
Yeah, I like Tutu at 49.
What if you plug Atwell and Reed?
I was gonna say, yeah,
and finish up your stuff because Reed can pretty much do everything.
See, here's the problem. Like, this is just a very expensive lineup that we're going with right now. Like, how do we?
But if you go Carolina, Chuba,
so okay, let's go Chuba.
we have almost 6K left for a flex and a running back.
Do we?
Yeah,
I have 40. Oh, who'd you put in at D?
I just threw Carolina in with Chuba.
Oh,
It doesn't hurt. It makes sense.
I'm gonna throw Broncos in for the time being, just to see. It gives us 5,500 for. I mean, if we use Slayton, then we can have anyone we want. Use Slayton. You have 7,100 for a running back.
How much was Sermon, did we say?
Oh, there we go. Oh no,
I got the lineup here. You already built it.
damn! No, I don't have it. I thought I had it with DK Metcalf.
We've got it for sure. This is a sick lineup, actually.
Hit me.
It's Purdy with Debo and Kittle.
Mhm.
It's the other receiving spots getting taken up with Atwell and Reed, secondary stack.
Mhm.
You go with Chuba, and then you get Javonte Williams with the Denver D, who we talked about, and you land on Jerome Ford or Sermon, whoever you feel more comfortable with.
I think I like Ford a little bit.
I liked Ford, and it only projects 4 points off the original optimal.
I think what I would like to do with this lineup is, I mean, obviously I have very little trust in Javonte Williams to not put up like 4 points.
Sure.
Ditto with Jerome Ford. But if there's a way I could get to a running back that I felt more comfortable with, I would feel more comfortable with paying down in that flex for a receiver or something like that.
So then you take out Javonte. We don't, again, right now you should make it so that you just leave Chuba in and leave the running back, the flex, and the D empty for a second, because the D can be whatever we want. Let's get Slayton in. cheap receiver, and then we can compare with the defenses for our final 2v2. If you go Denver, it's 7,100. If you go Carolina with Chuba, it's Kyron Williams. There you go. And just play Kyron, Tutu, and Reed from that game. It's 2 points off your optimal.
I could be, how about I do this? So
That's
the
a
way that I
great
would want to
lineup.
do it is, where's 32? Raiders.
Also, Kyron can probably go back to.
I went with Kenneth Walker in Raiders D.
Yeah, that's great too. I was just flipping to that. That's exactly
Although
what I was just...
I still think I like Broncos D better than Raiders D.
We'll see. If it gets super popular, I actually don't. I think like literally it's the same game. It's a division game. I don't care that it says that Denver's a 3-point favorite. Denver's been barely winning games. Like this is a spot definitely that Vegas can show up. It's not like Denver's some scary offense. The total is 36. Like it could be a shutout here in this game. So I'm not playing it for that reason. I'm saying, but if you're going to get for $300 more, the Vegas D at like 1/4 of the Denver D, I'm definitely having that in the portfolio.
Okay.
That's going in.
So Purdy, Hubbard, and Walker.
Yeah.
Debo, Atwell, Reed, Kittle, Slayton, and then Raiders D at 32.
Darius break the Slayton, man. This is the guy. $3,900. This is the one. Yeah, I like these types of lineups. Anyway, that just shows it. We don't have Mason. We're doing some flips in there. We're still getting after Green Bay instead of going to all the same stuff as everybody else. We got a guy like Reed in there with Atwell. Most are on Whittington or Kyron Williams or whatever else it might be. And then you didn't love Josh Jacobs, so we went, a little bit of a pivot off of him to Reed for $100 more in the flex, or however you want to look at it, because I think that's an afternoon game. Yeah, late game. You get Kenneth Walker in with Slayton. That's perfect.
This is my favorite one so far.
Projects really well.
Now let's
overall. I mean, for a tournament, especially with low ownership, it's good.
Well, let's go to Houston now and figure this one out. Stroud, Collins.
I don't even know if Stroud will make the pool this week.
I think that's how a lot of people are feeling. And then all of a sudden you just have CJ Stroud who throws for like 300 yards a game.
I'm telling you, people aren't figuring out the algorithm though. It's broken. He probably needs 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and you need to have the right guys with him when you have to choose between Dell being back now with Diggs in a revenge game, with Nico Collins, who just broke the slate last week or whatever at 7,700. You need a ton of stuff to go your way. And that's where people, I think,
So you're out on this game then?
I think I'm completely out on it. Yeah, from a quarterback perspective.
All right. Let's.
I would say I'm not like, again, I just don't see these expensive quarterbacks ever doing enough where it's going to break it. The only one I said I would play
Daniels.
Daniels isn't in that group to me. He's 6,800, but the only one I would go up to is actually probably Lamar. But it's because if I think, and I'm seeing it still that, people could get to Derrick Henry. And again, I don't know if they actually will. So I may not end up on this one either, but at least with Lamar, I would just go him and a tight end.
Him and Likely? Him and Patrick?
I would be playing him and Andrews
Ricard?
just because it's disgusting, but that's what I'd be doing.
Let's build Jaden Daniels out then.
Yeah, let's do that.
So Brian Robinson, as mentioned, may or may not play. Looking less like he's going to play at the moment, but if he practices Friday, he's going to be fine. Eckler going to be back. Do you want to put a pass catcher with Jaden Daniels?
It's really tough, but I would.
Like it has to.
I think it's going to be McLaurin.
It has
and
to
it
be,
looks like it is going to be McLaurin. He's 6,100. But I know people are playing Deontay there too, so maybe it gets kept in check. But I think it just stops there.
Would you want to play Ford? I think I would want to play a receiver back against.
I want to play Amari Cooper.
Okay, so we'll throw Cooper in as well.
100%.
So this is the little mini we have on the go here. I actually don't mind Jerry Jeudy as well.
I like the mini with Daniels, but I like Cooper. I mentioned it earlier. He did make the tidbits for sure. It was that he not only had all the other stats to go with it, it's the last couple weeks now, but that 82-yard touchdown should have been a touchdown. And I think, like you said, it's the second one or something.
And weirdly enough, as bad as this sounds, I think you could play Cooper and Jeudy without playing Watson.
I would be playing Watson.
I know you would, but he throws so many low A-dot throws that full point PPR wise that these guys can get there without Watson ever even sniffing it.
You need like a 2-touchdown game or like a touchdown with a bonus and 7 catches or something. Like Amari to be involved, it was 7 for 86 and 2 to get to almost 30 points. Mm-hmm. That's going to be so huge. Again, back to the pricing. Watson, I don't like him, but $5,300, I like him. He needs nothing. If he gets 2 touchdowns attached to him alone, on top of the yardage that goes with it, just to Amari Cooper, he's already smashing at $5,300.
Yeah,
that's the issue. Is again, it's all thought process stuff. When it's unlikely for Cooper to get there. Now, the only thing that can make it likely is that there's other cheap quarterbacks that you can stack around it. So you can do it. But I like if you're going with Jaden. I like Cooper with one of Jaden Daniels or that more than I like him as a one-off.
Okay.
That's how I'd put it.
Let's go Daniels, McLaurin, Hooper. Unless you really wanted to burn Ertz.
Not really. And
Okay.
I like this. And now you can kind of get away from stuff. Like I don't think that's going to be too popular. That if you like a Kraft with the Kyron Williams or a Colby Parkinson with a
Let's do
Reed
that.
or whatever.
Let's go Kyron and Mason with Kraft. Throw Slayton back in there for good measure.
Yeah, we like our guy, Slayton.
And then take a Bronco. Let's keep on Broncos D for the moment or whatever D.
For now, yeah.
What does that leave us with?
56? Oh, it's actually Carolina D with Chuba Hubbard, exact fit.
Is that actually true?
Yes,
There we go.
that's the nuts.
And put Mason down into the flex. Put Hubbard.
That's a pretty nice lineup. We're getting tagged big time. Like we're gonna break X, Twitter, whatever you're gonna call it, when Darius Slayton smashes. We've talked about it too much. It's just gonna be tagging everywhere.
We're playing 100% Darius Slayton at the moment.
At the moment, we're on a heavy Darius Slayton kick, but the ownership's not there. I don't see any ownership on him.
It's early.
Wandale, baby, your boy. Wandale.
Do we just start going with Hyatt instead? Like really galaxy brain this?
He's gonna get in there too. Don't worry. But it's not necessary. I just think like when you look at this lineup, Daniels, McLaurin, Cooper, solid. You got Jordan Mason, Kyron Williams, Tucker Kraft, the little mini stack there, the Chuba Hubbard, Carolina stack. This is a good lineup, and it only projects like 2 off of your optimal again, 3 off your optimal. And there's some ownership in it for sure, but it's all built out differently. Like you can move pieces around.
Yeah,
too.
and I think that we do fall into the habit, like we're guilty of it as well. Like we're talking about like how chalky some of these lineups are, but at the same time, you don't need to have 9 guys who are 5% owned or less. Like sometimes the chalky guy is a good play for a reason.
Yeah, we just had it last week, and the winning lineup still had 3-4 guys that were under 10%. You know, this lineup, I don't know if Jaden Daniels crosses 10. He probably should and might slightly, but quarterbacks always get kept in check. Amari Cooper at almost the same price. Same with McCoy. Like those guys got to get kept in check a little. Slayton can't get any. And then the other stuff does look kind of chalky a little bit. So maybe you could pivot 1 or 2 spots here. What's the 2v2 if you're to move off it here? Like Kraft is too popular, maybe?
You can move him to Parkinson if you wanted to, I guess.
If you put him to...
Who are the other cheap tight ends like around his range? Because I know we've already used a Ram in that lineup.
Well, I was going to go to your Harrison Bryant play, free up $1,000.
Eric All Jr.?
He's in the mix, maybe.
Gesicki would be down there.
I like if we're not doing the...
Gesicki's 34.
If we're not doing the other guy, you could kind of do... Can't quite get to that defense. What's the... Was there a running back at 5,700 again? Swift?
Sermon.
Was there anyone at 5,800? Oh, yeah, Ford. Okay, here's a flip for you then. Then Ford's in the same game, though.
Yeah. All right, well...
All right, if you play Ford and go to swap more... You're swapping less chalk in for this. Anyway, if you play Ford with Mason and Kyron Williams stays in there, you can really keep this lineup at a pretty good projection. So you go Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin with Ford.
And get rid of Cooper?
And get rid of Cooper for Deontay Johnson. You're getting some chalk in, but you're getting more chalk out because now I have 4 guys under 10% in this lineup.
And then you get
Ford, Deontay Johnson, McLaurin, Slayton stay the same. I went to your Harrison Bryant play because we're not playing Tucker or Myers. You get to keep Kyron Williams because we're not playing Whittington, Atwell, anything in that spot. And you get your San Francisco D with Mason.
Oh, interesting.
And now you have the San Francisco D, Harrison Bryant, Darius Slayton, and Ford, who Ford goes into the game stack still. You got all 4 of those guys under 10%. The projection only drops about 4 points, and the lineup still makes a ton of sense, and you still have some chalk in there, but you've found a little bit more leverage on the field in more ways than one, not just the lower-owned guys. Notice that Ford, lower-owned, but still fits the game stack. Harrison Bryant, we're not playing Tucker or Myers, etc. So that fits that. So there's little things that you can do here to find a way, and then obviously paying up at D is just unique this week, but it goes with Mason, so it makes even more sense.
Basically, you're hoping for Harrison Bryant to have 1 catch for a touchdown.
Yeah, realistically, that's kind of what you're doing, and hoping that Ford's involved over Cooper in that same game stack you're already on.
Now, we are stacking up Washington and Cleveland. Harrison Bryant used to play for Cleveland.
Revenge game.
Revenge game as a part of the stack because he's not actually playing against
Basically,
Cleveland.
this week on DraftKings, it's a 7-game. Like, you just got to come up with 7 guys. You put Slayton and Harrison Bryant in, move on. That's what you're saying.
Okay. Cincinnati, Baltimore.
What are we doing with this?
Burrow, Chase Higgins. Well, you know what? Yeah, Burrow, Chase Higgins with Derrick Henry.
Let's try it. We know
it's tough.
no, because we have Slayton.
Yeah, we might need to use like Slayton and Tucker in this one.
Let's see. I don't know.
We're back up to 44. We need a cheap
How,
Tucker Craft.
Let's just see. We got guys in the bag there. How much is Higgins this week? 6?
6. I mean, you could use Gesicki instead of Higgins or Eric All instead of Higgins. But then I feel like you're really diminishing the upside of this lineup. Like if you're using Joe Burrow to go off, you're using Chase and Higgins because they go off too. Or do they ever go off in the same week, or is it usually one of them goes off?
I think take Higgins out and put All.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's put him in there.
Do
We
you like-
just said we were going to mention him anyway. Let's plug him in.
Do you like All or Gesicki better?
Probably Gesicki, but I'm going to play All.
Gesicki's 34.
Yeah, but you saved the money. I like
Do
All.
we need to save that much money?
If we're playing Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Slayton and All Jr.
Yeah, let's keep those two in there for now and see what we can get. Do you want to get to Kenneth Walker? Do you want to try some of the... I mean, what are you doing? This is where you got to decide. Do you want your Atwell play in here? Because he's cheap enough and you like him and it gives us a piece of that game and you don't need to put Josh Jacobs. We can just put Atwell and have $5,400 left.
Let me see if I can finagle this properly. Where's Atwell? So 2-2. I just want to see what this leaves me with for a defense. How much was the Panthers? Oh, that's more than enough. Okay. I did not expect that.
I'm playing my first version of it, but you go ahead.
We get
I'll see what I can get to.
Hubbard in there. And then 32.
This lineup I got is sick.
I keep landing in 32 for defense, which I really don't want.
32?
Yeah.
Play your what's that one? Yeah, with
That's
Vegas.
That's Raiders.
Yeah, what do you got?
So I got Burrow, Chase, and All with Henry.
Yeah.
Chuba, Slayton, DK Metcalf to go against Slayton.
Okay.
2-2 Atwell and Raiders D.
Oh, 2-2 and your 7K Metcalf play.
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Yeah, that's nice. So the one I had that was it's projected 3 more.
Is it Walker instead of Chuba?
No, it is.
Because you could do this as well.
Go ahead.
Get rid of Hubbard. Get rid of Metcalf. Turn Hubbard into Walker. And then at 60, get rid of them. Then you can play Debo one-off with a $2,700 defense. I said I like the Texans down there at $2,600. Leaves $100 on the table.
Debo 68.
Yeah. So you get Walker and Debo and Texans D instead of Raiders D, DK, and...
Who would be a Ranger? We got Walker, Texas. We just need Walker, Texas Ranger. We got Debo in there and probably just go to the I don't know why it's not my pool here. Just was like, what's that $2,600 D we said earlier?
Texans. I like the Texans. You like the Colts, I think.
Kind of like them both, but if I take them out, that's what I would do. I'd leave the $100. I was trying to find a...
Yeah, you could use Browns. Obviously, you're not using Bengals in this lineup, in the Bengals lineup.
No, I like what you had there. That's fine. I would just use the $2,600 version. And you like the Texans?
Yeah.
And I like the
Colts,
which I think you liked them a little bit earlier too.
I don't mind them at all. When I noticed that the amount of pressure that the Texans generate, and you play Josh Allen, like Josh Allen will give you the ball.
So this was the better projected version, and still looks pretty sick on paper because you're so different already. It's Burrow with Henry and Mason. If you're adjusting,
Okay.
you keep Chase, Slayton, Atwell, All, and it lands you on Carolina D with your choice of Reed or Jacobs for the opposite of Atwell. So you get your San Francisco in there, you get your Green Bay LA in there, you get your Carolina piece in there, you kind of fit everything that you were doing on this slate, and you still get to stay within the 49-point total of the Baltimore-Cincy game that not many are going to be on.
Let's see here. For a flex, we have right around this range. So you can have you can't fit Debo, can you?
I don't think.
Debo's too much? Yeah, it leaves you 65 is the most you can spend for the Ds that are available. And how much was Deontay Johnson again?
61.
So you could play Deontay Johnson. No, Chuba Hubbard 61. Deontay is he's also 61.
Yeah.
So you could flex Deontay and still have the 28 for the Bills, Jags. You like the Jags, D?
At 28.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you're saying. You can pick your poison of Deontay or Hubbard.
Or Reed or whoever it is. I mean, Reed would go with the stack with Atwell. I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, I'll probably be playing Buffalo at that point. And this is another way to think of it, but that's the same thing we talked about earlier. You're getting the big total in Baltimore, Cincy. You're getting your pieces from the Green Bay LA game. You're getting your Carolina piece that most are picking one from. You're getting your San Francisco piece, and then you're landing on the Buffalo D and saying that Buffalo Houston game is not in my lineup anyway. Who cares? Free square, plug it in. You know, it's not the result you're going to get. It's the point of just plugging it in. That's kind of the premise here. So yeah, I like that lineup too.
Last one I want to go to. Ready for this?
Okay, here we go.
Dalton, Hubbard, Deontay.
Makes perfect sense.
Everyone's using Deontay. Everyone's using Hubbard. No one's using Dalton.
And we already established off the top, it's exactly what people do. What you should be doing is using the guys that people are, the only guys that are getting the work, like you said, are Hubbard and Deontay. They get the ball from Andy Dalton. There you go.
I like Rome on the other side.
Do you want to run this back? I think you can just jam.
You could jam, or you could take Dalton out and go Williams, Adunze, and Kmet.
Oof. Do I have any Caleb Williams interest?
I don't see why you wouldn't. It's a really terrible defense. And it feels like Rome, and I mean, if you want to play DJ Moore, sure, but this is the really cheapo version of this. And then you have $5,600. Even we can use Packers D because I haven't used them yet, and I really like them this week at $3,000. Now all of a sudden you have $6,500 per player for a wide receiver, a running back, and a flex. And we already have Deontay and Hubbard, who we like anyway. So you could go. Fuck, if we use Slayton, then we're off to the races.
You just got to keep plugging in Slayton, man. That's the guy.
So
here.
it gives you 77. You can go like Chase and Jordan Mason if you wanted.
Trying to see. I don't know if I love that.
No, I mean, it does not look good at all when you take a look at it.
I guess, no, that would be against them. So it's like, do you play Kittle and Mason? Probably not. I don't know. I can get a better projection on a different version, but yeah, I don't like anything with Caleb Williams right now.
Really?
No.
What did he score last week? I feel like he did very well last week.
Maybe he did.
It was 2 weeks ago. Really? He only had 11 fantasy points last week?
Yeah.
He had 23 the week before against
He fits the mold of like what's cheap. I guess my cheap guys are going to be.
All right, so let's put Dalton back in.
That's where I was at, and then
just don't use any Bears.
Yeah, I just went with like Mason, some of the other guys to try and get a feel. Like it just depends on how you build it out, but I guess I don't want Kittle. So can I get Reed in there and then a cheaper tight end? I think Reed is fine. Ooh,
I want to use DK in one of these lineups with Slayton.
Mark Andrews fits.
Oh my God, no.
You want to use DK Metcalf?
Yeah, DK at receiver with Slayton.
So let's do that. What about JSN for some savings?
I'd rather just play DK.
So what is that? Oh, we got all kinds of money here, Pat.
Yeah, we have tons.
So right now what I've put in, just so to add up for you, it's Dalton with Hubbard and Johnson. I've got your Slayton Metcalf, and then I'm putting Jordan Mason in.
I have Jordan Mason already.
And I'm just leaving tight end flex and D because what can we get?
I threw in Packers D just to have it in because I wanted to play DK in one of these lineups. I want to play Packers D, so I might as well throw them into this.
Pat yells at me whenever he wants, and fair. But I would say that's the one I always keep yelling at you for. Is like the D doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I like the Packers.
I know you do, but
like,
the D this week.
Yeah, but you're playing 150 lineups.
Yeah,
and figuring it out at the end. These are the lineups I'm playing this week.
And I'm saying, can't say it any more clear. If you're playing 1 or 150 this week, the defense should be the last thing you put into your lineup.
Okay,
because there's so many options that we can make a case for. Yet we have a great lineup right here, right now. This looks awesome on paper. It makes a lot of sense. It's in good shape. We've got a couple leverage spots in it right now with a lower owned Metcalf, a Slayton that's lower owned, and Dalton, who even though he's with his popular guys, Dalton's not going to be super popular. So we need to figure out what makes sense at tight end and D. Are we missing a game?
Kyron and Kraft.
And right now we're missing Green Bay and LA, and we have options to plug in here.
And it leaves us on Packers D with Kraft.
See why this is such an important exercise? 3,000 is Packers D.
But now we put a Packer and a Ram into the lineup already.
No, so you go back to Denver D. Done. And it literally is 3 points off your optimal. And you've got at least 3 spots under 10% owned with a really nice lineup on paper. Like that to me is fine. What didn't we cover? We didn't cover Baltimore, Cincy,
We didn't cover Houston and Buffalo.
and we haven't really been covering them. And I think the way you cover Baltimore and Cincy is if you're really interested in that game, even if you only have 3 lineups, we'll make it 1 and then do the other 2 the way that we've been sort of doing it. If you want to cover it in your portfolio, you're going to have stacks around that game.
How much money is Darius Slayton going to lose me this week?
Sounds like a lot. I mean, for both of us right now, because I'm going to enter these 2, it's going to be quite a bit. What's our current exposure?
100%.
Is he actually in everyone we built on the show?
Yes, he is.
I didn't have very many in here before, and I have like 86%. So yeah, that's
We have 0 Trey Tucker and 100% Darius Slayton.
and if that works, we're geniuses.
There we go.
If it doesn't work,
Enter.
the chalk donkey's got there. It's just an easy out, Pat, no matter what.
I like it.
I like the lineup. I like the exercise. I think that's kind of how we look at things. I don't know if there was another.
That's it for me in terms of what I want to build out. Like you said, you could use Lamar as a solo, but if you're going to do that, why not just pay down and use Jaden as a solo?
What was the quarterback we were just building with? It was Dalton. Did I save that one with Denver? I was just going to see if you flip
I think the Purdy lineup that we build is probably the best lineup.
Parkinson, and then I was going to see if the Parkinson Reed one got us anywhere, but it doesn't quite. No. All right.
Minshew,
Ugh.
Tucker, Bryant.
I don't even have yet. Pack it in. He said
51, 41, 25.
The moment you knew the show was over, right there. Watch him go ship the Millie now. Minshew Millie.
Oh, yeah, and I got to put the other pass catcher for the Raiders in, a.k.a. Broncos D.
Yeah, this is Pat's favorite lineup. Actually, where you convinced me, hey, only 10 games on this slate. It might be better for you this week.
All right, now we can really load up here. I said I wanted to play DK, so we'll play some DK.
Get the Slayton
gotta
mini
play,
stack.
gotta play Slayton.
Yeah.
And let's play my favorite one-offs of the week. So we'll get Slayton in there.
Well, you're doing that. I'm pulling up Slayton props. I just got to see what these are right now.
It's probably like 14 yards or something.
The neighbors thing might keep him off the board. Is that possible?
That's probably what's going to happen right now.
Let me see.
I have too much money is the problem with this lineup. Don't even need to use Slayton. I'll use Tutu instead.
Slayton first touchdown, 18-1.
There we go. Throw in some Collins. What do we got here? We can get some Derrick Henry on the go.
Passing yard milestones. Cannot get anything good yet. Or sorry, not passing yard. Receiving yard milestones. Cannot get the side that I talked about as expected. Dumb.
57. Waddle? You like Jalen Waddle?
I forgot Miami was on the slate before
Yeah.
we talked about. I know we talked about it earlier, but yeah. I don't have anything else. That's the one. I think we got to figure it out. What was the lineup you said you liked the best? The Purdy one?
Yeah.
With
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm currently building the one I like the best.
Oh,
Throw this
God.
one to the big money.
What was our best projected Purdy one?
Let's go. I'll throw Eckler in there. You know what? Let's not do that. Let's not throw in Eckler. It's tough. 57. Like, there's no one here.
The Purdy one was nice. It was are you talking? I think it was Purdy, Debo, Kittle, no run back with Chuba, Kyra. No, maybe that wasn't it. Jamar Chase, definitely not that one. Jerome Ford, no. I don't know if that was the best one. We'll see. Maybe the Vegas one, the Vegas D.
No, I'm talking about the Vegas stack that I'm building right now.
I know that. I think the Vegas D.
All
one
right,
is
so here's
good.
the lineup. Ready? $1 million.
Let me see.
Minshew, Trey Tucker, Harrison Bryant, with Kyron Williams, Jordan Mason, DK Metcalf, and Nico Collins. Actually, does this work?
Metcalf, D.
Panthers D and Chuba Hubbard.
Panthers D. Chuba Hubbard. How much is
You got $100 left.
Minshew is 5,100?
Yeah. It's Minshew, Tucker, and Harrison Bryant with super team.
I don't think you can do anything else with it. Yeah, there you go. That one is what do we got? Not a bad projection,
Really?
surprisingly. Well, it's because it's kind of the situation. I don't love it, but I'm saying I get it, and it's kind of the flip of what you talked about earlier, where it was like, just let's play Dalton. If everyone's already playing these guys, why not just stack up on top of them? That's what you'd be looking at. I don't know. Would you consider Bo Nix on the other side of this game instead
No.
to get those players into your lineups?
No, probably not.
I think I would lean that side more.
I mean,
but
this is no different than what you talked about earlier with Daniel Jones, Slayton, and Hyatt or Theo Johnson. It's exactly the same idea.
I think it's a much better defense they're going up against.
Yeah, but
Like, I think that's the
maybe
problem
we're
here.
wrong.
Yeah, maybe we're wrong. It
Maybe
is possible.
Maybe Cuss was right the entire time that it wasn't the Broncos D. It was simply the rain of why the Jets were bad.
I don't think so. But yeah, I got you here. So yeah, it doesn't actually project that bad. It's got 1, 2, 3. We got 4 guys in under the 10%. It fits the mold, Pat. This could be the one. You don't need a Bronco in there trying to figure out if it's Lil Jordan Humphrey or Sutton or whoever it might be. You don't need to do anything like that. And you've got a good build here.
Mason, Kyron, Kraft. Get some crafties in there. DST. We don't even need Kraft. You can go Daniel Jones, Slayton, Hyatt is the other version of that. Metcalf on the way back. Jordan Mason, Kyron Williams. You can flex in anyone you want. I keep going back.
You're just flipping the build?
Yeah.
Like getting off of Tucker
Yeah, why not?
and going to Slayton, who we talked about.
Then you get Jam Tutu back in there. Can't
Keep
do that because I need a
Metcalf.
tight end. Who's a decent tight end this week?
Who was the other running back yet? Kyron?
Yeah.
And you could leave Harrison
Collins, let's
Bryant
get-
in there.
No, we don't need to do that. We can just go there. Daniel Jones, Slayton, and Hyatt with DK coming back. Kincaid is tight end with Nico Collins as the mini stack is that game. And then you have Jordan Mason, Kyron Williams, and Jags D.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't know what I have different, but I had Daniel Jones with Slayton and Metcalf. I kept Nico Collins. I kept Harrison Bryant in, but I got Jordan Mason and Carolina D with Chuba Hubbard.
And if I take out Kincaid and use Harrison Bryant, now we're off to the races. I don't even know where I could spend the money.
Well, I think it's what I did. I got Chuba Hubbard and the Carolina D in there,
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it is.
and you got a couple $100 left. But yeah,
That's fun.
the Hyatt build is at least somewhat interesting, but I think it's going to be like Robinson Slayton or Slayton Theo Johnson or something like that. Slayton Theo Johnson could be huge. Can we just fit that in there? How much is he?
Theo Johnson, does he do
Oh
anything?
yeah, it's exact $100 left.
Like, I feel like he does less than what my guys in these lineups that I'm building do. He might do less than Harrison Bryant.
It's possible, but look at this build. Daniel Jones, Slayton, Theo Johnson with Metcalf on the run back. You still get Kyron Williams, Mason, Hubbard in the Carolina D, and you get Nico Collins.
Do you think Collins will be with the most popular one-off receiver?
I don't know. It's tough to say. If people can get there, I guess. I think he'd be more popular than like Chase or Metcalf, who were already on 2 of them in this lineup. So I just think this build is different because the pay up at wide receiver should be different. When you've got all those options you mentioned earlier, like Tucker, Deontay Johnson, any of those guys on the Green Bay side. We didn't even talk about like Wicks. We got Atwell and
It's
Whittington.
true. We didn't talk about Wicks at all. How much is Wicks? Wicks is
5K.
5,000.
Right in the middle of the Kraft stuff and the Reed stuff is Wicks, and he was awesome last week.
Yeah,
So I mean,
and he's proven to be awesome.
he's
when
going to get
Christian
some ownership
Watson
by
is
the
out.
time Sunday gets around. But yeah, he's there as well. Josh Downs is 5,100. If we get the Flacco news, we'll see. But I don't know. We got to see what happens with some of the other stuff. But I definitely think paying up for 2 wide receivers could be different, especially if we also get 3 running backs over 6, including 2 over 7. That build's nice.
Especially now that I've built these and probably won't go back and change them unless someone gets injured. But if we do get that news and all of a sudden there's 4 running back paydown options, I think these lineups become better and better because the ownership will just be suppressed on them.
Yeah.
Just inevitably.
Yeah, hopefully the thought process came through again more than what the actual lineup is to explain sort of what we were doing and why and some of the stuff there. That's kind of the original intention I was going with the show, but we'll have some fun with it too. We got Minshew Millie Makers, we got Theo Johnson, we got Darius Break the Slayton. This is going to be a good one.
The one player I wasn't able to work in, besides Packers D, which I have not worked in, is A-Chain.
Yeah, again, same thing. Miami.
I know, just he's sitting there and he's been so bad the past 2 games that like now no one is using him. And you know what the upside is. Again, I don't know if Mostert's playing or not yet, but it could just be like 30 carries for him. And
It's going to just be a big brain, get after it. Like people will do it, I'm sure, but it's like, it's really hard. Kyron Williams, Mason, Derrick Henry, James Cook, Kenneth Walker, we'll see the Brian Robinson news, but Jacob, I mean, there's literally like 7 guys around him that you just have to, you're really taking a big stand by doing that in a game in New England, like just a division game. Like, I don't know. Anything can happen. He's a boom bust guy, but feels like a lot of his booms have been with Tua behind the helm.
Well, I mean, he's played the vast majority of his games in his career with two with him. He's played two without him.
Sample size. I guess I shouldn't say it like that. I just mean like I think that really matters in the situation as well.
It may, being able to utilize the passing game the way that Tua does versus what we've seen from Huntley or Skylar Thompson or Tim Boyle so far opens up the field for him 100%.
Yeah.
But maybe that Huntley was on the team for 3 days before he was playing quarterback.
Yeah.
Maybe it does look a little bit better this
It
week.
was the better way. I meant to put it that way versus obviously it's only a small sample. He's always been with two. I meant just more. It matters more that's going to be important to have something like that there. It opens the whole offense up, which is what's given him the opportunities in the past. Right now, it seems pretty simple to shut this offense down.
All right. That will do it on the Pat Mayo Experience. Code Mayo everywhere, especially Underdog. Get that deposit bonus of up to $1,000, but also at Ship It Nation, also at Run the Sims, and BetterHelp, and PXG, and Factor Meals. Code Mayo will open up a lot of doors for you.
I just try it.
Discounts.
Hey, you know that? Sometimes
any site you go to, just type in Code Mayo, you might get a discount.
I get a few each week where it's like Ship It Nation, just like Code Mayo has popped in. People are just using it. They're just trying it out. Does that code still work? It does.
It does. It works. And you guys are live on Sunday morning?
Sunday morning, the drive to 10,000 subscribers is still on. We got almost 8,300 now. We're slowly moving the pace up there. The show yesterday was awesome over on the Mayo Media Network. Still doing a ton of action there every Thursday. You can find us there as well. And like I said, Code Mayo gets you a free week at shipitnation.com. So go there and check it out.
Sub to the Mayo Media Network as well. We're in the race for 50,000 subs. Maybe I'll send some people over to you. You send some people over to me, and we'll get to the totals that we need to get
They
to.
might mostly be over with you already.
They might be.
More you sending our way. So that's what the benefit of this is. But we'll try and do anything and everything we can to continue to grow it. We definitely talk a lot about smashing the like button and making sure you're subscribed to the channel. A lot of people don't realize it, but you have to actually click the subscribe button and make it say subscribed. It just sits there otherwise.
Interesting. If you use 100% Darius Slayton this week, you subscribe to the channel.
If he smashes this week.
If he doesn't, never bring it up again.
Correct.
Thank you. All right. That will do it for me. I will be back on Saturday with a full injury breakdown, rankings update, underdog prop plays for the week, and the DraftKings values once we see what happens with the injury report on Friday. All right. I'm Pat Mayo. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.
Pat Mayo Experience! Experience!